Good morning. Hope everybody is keeping well. Welcome to Spurs Back Pages. Yeah, look, back in the day, things have changed now, haven't they? But we used to go and buy the newspaper, especially after a Spurs win, and have a look at the back pages. And unfortunately, we don't do that so much now. But I remember a time not too long ago when we got an amazing win against Manchester United, and it was away from home. I think it was under AVB. What a performance! And I just remember in the morning going down to the news agent and picking up the newspaper, and just enjoying it and having a coffee, having a bit of breakfast, looking at the back pages. There's something special about that, the back pages. It's not the same anymore, is it? On when you kind of look everything up online, and look, we've kind of lost that. But look, this morning, just going to go over the game yesterday. Um, this is what we like to see, Spurs fans, eh? Second in the league, 3 wins out of 4. Fantastic start under Frank overall, and a really positive win yesterday against West Ham. Let's have a look and see if there's anyone here. Nobody in the chat yet. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Big you up. Hope you're good. How are you? Give us your thoughts on the game yesterday. Really good to finally get a win against West Ham away. First one since 2019, when it was Mourinho's first game. So look, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We're gonna run through it, and we're gonna have a look at this. Let's have a look. Oh, who's in here? Cookie. Evening, Cookie. How are you doing, man? Good morning to you. I tried to give you a buzz last night, but you didn't answer, man. I was just seeing if you wanted to join me. But hope you're good, man. How you doing? What do you think of the game yesterday? Give us your thoughts in the comments. So look, where we're going to start this morning, I'll tell you which one we're going to go. We're going to go with the Suns coverage. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what they said. So this is their kind of spread on there, if you can see. Let me just bring that comment off. West Ham 0, Tottenham 3. Pressure on Potter as Spurs thrash rivals after Souček leg breaker. Yeah, it's a nasty old challenge, wasn't it? Thomas Frank became the first Spurs manager to win away at West Ham since Jose Mourinho, and it could have been even worse for the Hammers. So look, that was their kind of back pages online. Let me just take that down. Yeah, and I'm just going to get into their report. I think there's someone else says hello in the chat. Marianne, how you doing? Good morning, Dan, and all in the chat. And Cookie's saying, morning, Marianne, back. How you doing? Thank you both for being here. So let's just get up the report and just kind of like the key thoughts from the kind of the Sun's article and their perspectives of it. Let's have a little look here. So let's get the information up. So what they highlighted was the 2 members of the Lewis family who dramatically forced out long-time serving chairman Daniel Levy 9 days ago. Vivian Lewis, daughter of former Joe Lewis, and her son-in-law Nick Bersher sat in the director's box alongside Spurs CEO Vinay and technical director Johan Lang. Yeah, it was strange, isn't it, without seeing Levy there. A source close to the family claimed Levy had paid the price for poor results and held a dawning of a new era where more wins could be delivered. So far, the new era reads 1 game played, 1 emphatic win achieved. So those in charge could be forgiven if they left the London Stadium grinning from ear to ear last night. A lot around that, the change in the board, and we saw the Sky cameras highlighting them out there. Evening, Paul. Morning, Paul. Sorry, normally you used to doing the evening streams. How you doing, mate? Morning, Dan. Great win. Positive start to the season. It'll be nice to see us winning games again. It is, mate. You know, last season it was so bad, weren't it? It really was. It was defeat after defeat. Yes, we had the Europa League glory, but week to week, we didn't enjoy ourselves watching Tottenham Hotspur. And yeah, it's great to see us winning games and keeping clean sheets, right, guys? You know, we're 3 clean sheets out of 4, 1 goal conceded. You know, we had a poor game against Bournemouth, but, you know, they're going to happen. We're going to lose games throughout the season. We're not going to win every game. We've got to give Frank and his team time to kind of, yeah, you know, get going. Let's say morning to Ash. Hello, Ash. How you doing? Thank you for being here. Please, guys, smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't. Much appreciated. So the Sun go on to talk about Mohamed Kudus, and they kind of referred it to receiving dogs abuse from the fans who once adored him. He took plenty of them the right hand side of the pitch. 55 million summer capture from West Ham, finding one particular delivery in the 90th minute towards the near post where Christian Romero headed into the corner. Now, for me, guys, I think that was very soft to not be given. I know it went to VIR, but VIR kind of supported the referee's decision on that. For me, that was a goal. You know, I think Van der Ven was actually fouled. But look, we didn't get that goal. Guys, what did you think? Did you think it was a goal? I think it was. It was very soft to get disallowed. And then it went on to talk, and the Sun highlighted this. And I don't know if you guys saw this last night. It's something what James Maddison said. So this is what they say. They say it looked to be a fair opener, but referee Gerard Gillett ruled it out for a shove from Van der Ven on Kyle Walker-Peters in the build-up and was backed up by VAR. Yet replay seemed to show Van der Ven himself being pushed in by former academy player Walker-Peters by Fernandes, angering Thomas Frank on the touchline. Spurs injured midfielder James Maddison was throwing things at his TV in a tweeted, honestly, the referees and VAR have had an absolute shocker of a start to the season. A lot of criticism there from James Maddison. Look, we were dominating the game. It was corner after corner. I think after that, we didn't start well in the game in that first part of that half. West Ham had a couple of half chances. We kind of were just very lethargic, really struggled to get anything going. But I think midway through that first half, we seemed to take control of the game. And we were creating chances. A lot of them was from corners. We were putting pressure on the West Ham goal. Corner after corner after corner. We got that goal, which I think should have stood. And so we ended that kind of half in the dominant side without scoring. And I just think that was a lot, not having a striker. You know, this Tell thing, Frank giving him a game. I get it. He's got to play him. Spurs have spent £30 million on him. But at the end of the day, guys, he's got to do more than that. He got bullied off the ball, barely was involved. And I was just thinking, look, if we just had a striker, Solanke, Richarlison or Mawani up there, surely we would have scored one of those crosses or, some of those chances that Spurs created. So, look, going into that half, end of that first half, I think we were on top. So the referee went and said, if that goal is disallowed for a foul, you'll never see a corner to be taken without referee blowing for something ever again. So then what happened in the second half, this is what they go on and report, is that Spurs finally did score the simplest set piece you will ever see. New boy Simmons fired a delivery to the back post where an unmarked Sarr headed home. And that just came 2 minutes into the restart. And 7 minutes later, the game was over. As you know, they got their man sent off, and then what's his name scored Bergvall with a clever goal. Guys, let's go to the chat. Let's have a look. Ash Vicario went under the radar. He was tremendous this season. I think he's done good. Ash, I've got to be honest, hasn't put a foot wrong really. Hasn't been at fault at any goals. He had a really fantastic goalkeeping performance against Bournemouth. I thought really kept the score down. On another day, we could have lost that 3 or 4 goals. Marion said it was a goal without any doubt. Yeah, it definitely was. Ash as well says 100% a goal. Premier League refs are the worst. And Eva man, hello to you. Hope you're good. 100% goal. we've been robbed. Yeah, we should have been able to go up. I think on the kind of the state of that player, the first half, we deserved to be leading. We just didn't have a kind of clinical striker up there who could put chances away. If we had that, I'm sure we could have scored a couple of goals in that first half. So look, there's some stats from the game I want to bring up because the Sun have put some stats on. Let me get that up on the screen now. What do you think of this? Of this. Let me bring that comment down quickly. So there we go. 3-0. It's 5 shots on target from Spurs, 14 in total. Block shots 5, possession 64%, passes 524, completed passes, tackles more. Fouls conceded fairly similar, and there's the kind of the big stat there. Corners 13. And being the away side, we dominated that game, didn't we? We really did, and the second half was so much better. Let me just bring those stats down. Look, we thoroughly deserved to win that game, especially second half. We put in a very professional performance, and what I liked about it after we scored, obviously Souček done the stupid thing with that tackle. We went on and scored again very quickly after through Bergvall, and a great pick out from Romero. Bergvall timed his run and a header which looped over the goalie, and yeah, it was just fantastic. It was a fantastic goal. And then I've got also the Sun have put his heat map out as well. Well, his touch map. Lucas Bergvall was everywhere, all over the pitch there. If you have a look at his heat map there, getting involved in the game. He was well involved, wasn't he? He was kind of given that task of being our kind of creative midfielder. A lot of people question his creativity. They think he doesn't create too much. He's 19 years old, and he is. He's got a lot of energy about his game. I like his positivity. He likes to play forward. He likes to get in the box. He likes these darting runs. I think he could score some goals this season. And look, there's going to be plenty of matches for him to play. And yeah, let's just let him go and just see what Frank can do and his coaching staff. They can improve his game, get him more positionally aware, I think. But look, there's a lot of talk about Bergvall, a lot of there's a lot expected of him. A lot of people say he's class. Guys, what do you think of Bergvall? Do you like him? Let's go to the chat and see if anyone's made a comment about Bergvall. Give us your thoughts on him. I think it was a really good performance from Bergvall. We got man of the match. He scored and he got an assist as well. I know the assist was a little bit fortunate, but just the kind of intent for him to, drive into the box. And he's not shy to do that. And look, I like Bergvall. I don't think maybe he should start in our first team, in our best 11, but he's got something to offer us. And I just hope throughout the season he gets better. And he could really, turn into a real top player. He's got so much ability. I do really like him. I think last season he played well in that chaotic AND system. But guys, there's a lot more to come from him. Ash says Saar Bergvall are always too high on the pitch. There's no build up from the middle. So you have some concerns of how we progress the ball attacking. And there has been, that game against West Ham, although it was a great result, 3-0, it wasn't a perfect performance. I did think we struggled. And I think we have struggled to create clear-cut chances throughout the season. That's my view. But we're going to go on to Frank's press conference a little bit later, where he talks about how important, that defence is and how much work he has put into the defence. And that is all clear to see, right? 3 clean sheets so far. Big up, Philly. How you doing, mate? Big up, Danilis, my friend. Games like West Ham yesterday are perfect games to build up a goal difference. Exactly. We could have gone on and scored a couple more, I think. And so, when I was talking to Chris, we did a match review yesterday, that his view was that it was kind of like perfect game management. We didn't have to go all out and score goal after goal, risk getting injuries. And it was just about managing the game. We scored that second, then we scored that third. Took our foot off the gas, really, just kept the ball, controlled it. For me, I think the subs came on, didn't really do a lot. And it was really their chance to press, especially against a 10-man West Ham. But they didn't really do a lot, but Kudus had a fantastic chance, didn't he, to make it 4. It was a great save from the West Ham goalie. And look, could we have scored more goals? I think so. But I kind of get what Chris was saying. It's about managing games, and like last season under James was just like attack after attack after attack, whatever the scoreline is. Sometimes you need some game management. We've got a long season ahead. We don't want to risk injuries. Champions League on Tuesday, but then on the other hand, some of these players who came off the bench, had energy to burn, and really they could have made a better impression. But the whole kind of in the role, the whole game management was really good. So look, let's jump to another newspaper article which I saw. Let me just bring up their main headline. Ash says, "I'm loving your stream, more professional than Sky Sports and Talks." Well, I don't know about that, Ash. I'm just having a good old chat. Sunday morning, I just had a 3 hour. So I just thought I'll come on and have a chat, about Spurs. And it has been a good start to the season. And look, every Spurs fan waking up this morning is happy, right? They see the league table, good performance, beating West Ham. And, they're miserable right now, West Ham. They're really not happy. Their fans, they're so annoyed with the board. So let's go to my next newspaper article. Here we go. We're going to bring it up now. I think it's going to be from the Daily Mail. Let me just bring that up. Where is it now? Here we go. So I think, or is this the Guardian? Yeah, I think this is the Guardian, actually. So it says Tottenham humiliate 10-man West Ham to deepen gloom of home fans. And we loved seeing them all, those West Hams just walking out. They were just, I don't blame them, to be honest. West Ham are not a good side right now. Graham Potter came in last season, hasn't really got them going. He's trying to implement a style of play. It's not really working. And then you look at the investment from West Ham in the summer. Yeah, it's not great, really. It's a couple of potential players. Callum Wilson, they lost quite a few experienced players, and they're just not looking in a good place right now. I know their German striker was injured. I think he was actually made the bench, but he wasn't fit enough to play. But West Ham, for me, after that first 20 minutes where they tried to have a go, they fell away. They're just not a good side right now, and that's what was frustrating me in that first half, because I saw West Ham and I thought they're up for the taking. They didn't start with a forward. I thought if we could get our act together, we can win this game. It did take a bit of a while to start dominating, but we did in the end, and that's the most important thing. So let's see what the I think it's the Guardian. Let's see what they got to say about that game. Let's have a look. 1 second. Let's bring that up. Let's just go to the comments in the chat. Philly says the West Ham sending off should have been beneficial to Kudos, as it meant West Ham couldn't double up on him. Yeah, we saw that, didn't we? That in that second half, Kudos went more central. Johnson came out. He went on to the right, and we were kind of like playing two up front, weren't we? I think was Richarlison on the pitch. I think he was Richarlison and Kudos, and he came so close to scoring. I think Kudos done quite well, to be honest. With all that abuse, he kind of it didn't affect his game. He was busy throughout, taking on his fullback, trying to make things happen, having a couple of shots that were blocked. I think he had a good game. It's just unfortunate he didn't get that goal, but it was a fantastic save from that West Ham goalie. So let me get up the next article I was going to talk about. Hold on a second. Let's just go back to the Daily Mail one. I think because I brought up the wrong one. Well, I think it was the right one, actually. Here we go. Yeah, I did bring up the wrong one. Let's just take that comment down. So, pressure on Potter as Spurs thrash rivals. Oh, no, I've done that one already. No, I haven't. Yeah, I think I have. That's the wrong one. Dan, sort your stuff out. Here we go. This is the right one. Yeah, here we go. So, Thomas Frank, set piece machine bears fruit as his Tottenham side dismantle London's rival with a superb second half. Don't know what happened there. My screen went a bit funny. Dismantles London's rivals with a superb second half display. Guys, what do you think of these set pieces now? We're kind of being like the set piece team now, we're being called. Creating quite a lot from set piece. Frankly's putting a lot into our set pieces, long throw-ins, corner kicks. I think it's really good for us, because it could be a difference in a tight game where maybe we're not creating clear-cut chances, it's all a bit of a struggle, and then a set-piece goal. I think it's, it can really help us this season if we can get like 10, 12 goals from set pieces throughout the season. It's massive for us. I really like it. And and then you hear the kind of, the match reporters when they talk about the game. We are quite a big side. We've got Paulinho in there as well. Van der Ven is popping up with goals now. I think that's his second of the season. Romero is scoring as well. I know his goal was disallowed, but what if you've got that weapon in your locker? Why not use it to our advantage? I think so. I know people, and I think it's more kind of rival fans calling us like we're a set piece team now. That's the only way we can score. But look, they're probably jealous because at the end of the day, we're winning games. If however we score, as long as we win, I'm happy with that. Yes, of course, we'd love to play fantastic attacking football and split teams apart. But look, it may come under Frank. It's early days still, and as I said a little bit earlier, Frank is focusing a lot on that defence because there has been a massive improvement in that area. So going back to the kind of Daily Mail's outlook on the game, so they again obviously talking about the new directors. So it said 3 goals up, and the camera panned towards the front row of the directors' box, where Tottenham's new regime looked on grim-faced. Someone might want to tell them this was a good day. Do you know what? Yeah, like when I saw it on Sky Sports, like they weren't that happy, were they? They weren't smiling. I don't know what that was. Honestly, I don't know. Let's just go to the chat, see what any comments in there. Ash says Kyle Walker-Peters also played really well. I think he did all right. It's probably one of West Ham's better players, to be honest, but they were very terrible overall. Morning, Chris. How you doing? Up the Spurs and fuck the West Ham. Exactly. We love beating that lot, and it's been so long since we won at their ground. I think when I saw that West Ham team yesterday, that's the worst West Ham team I've seen for a long time. They offered nothing. Look, I think that when we got that first goal, they did create a chance, and it was a good save from Vicario. But other than that, they offered very little. Really, second half, we completely dominated that match and we didn't give them a sniff. Ash says, I actually hate bully the keeper tactics, but if Arsenal's doing it, then I'm all up for it. Do you think I didn't actually pay close attention to that? Are we, kind of blocking their goalie? But you've got to get anything you can to score goals and take advantage of games. Chris says 3-4 clean sheets. You took the word out of my mouth as I was typing it. Yeah, no, it's really impressive, and I think we've matched or bettered our total from last season under Ange, which was interesting, isn't it? So let's go back to what the Mail was saying. He says 3 goals up at home. At the home of the London rivals, with Thomas Frank's set-piece machine wreaking havoc on the West Ham side, unable to match their physical presence or quality on the ball. There had been seasons in recent memory when it gets a little better than this for Spurs. Back on the winning trail after a fortnight after a dispiriting defeat at the home against Bournemouth in what would yet to prove Daniel Levy's farewell game. They also spoke about Simmons, guys. Give us your thoughts on Simmons' performance. 51 million signing from Leipzig, made his Spurs debut playing wide on the left. His first positive impact came after 17 minutes, jinking inside and taking aim. His effort was deflected wide from the corner that the visitor had the ball in the net. So from that's when Romero scored a goal. Kudos took it. You could tell by the noise. Kudos International was jeered when the teams were announced, and every time the ball came his way, every successful tackle on him was cheered by the home crowd. And then it said the big check, Souček, barely disappeared from view when the 10 men left behind conceded again. Spurs passed the free kick short and worked it along the back line to Romero, who clipped a pass forward. I want to talk about Romero's performance in a minute. Bergvall darted behind the West Ham's defence, centre halves, and looped a header over Hermanusson. And then Van der Ven poked in a third, which was the cue for thousands of home fans to head for the exits. Don't you love to see this? And those in their way in to start the ole, oles and songs about the fire drill and libraries, eh? Don't you love to see it? Don't you love to see it? I love it when the home fans walk out, and it's just great to see. And then they end this with, this is what the Wales said. They said, if this is life after Levy, they're going to enjoy it. Guys, Guys. Big up to Henry in the chat. Hope you're good, man. Philly, to me, it's the players aren't played in the right positions because the team is compensating for inadequacy in the squad. Simmons is a round peg in the squad and would prefer sensorily. Look, I don't think this squad is perfect, guys. Honestly, I do not think it. I think there's positions that we can upgrade on. I think there's clear positions that we need. Like you, Philly, and I'm sure many Spurs fans, we wanted Simmons to be more central. We wanted him to be the creator of the team. Frank gave that to Bergvall yesterday. But Bergvall did put in a good performance. But I think if we're going to get more out of Simmons, and he said in his interview after the game, he said, what is your position? He says 10, but I've been playing left. I think he said last season. We need to see him more centrally. But it was his first game. I think he was tidy, didn't do anything fantastic. He's got to get used to his teammates. You could see there was a few misplaced passes, because he ain't played with these players before. So it's going to take some time. But I think if we're going to get the most out of him, he's got to be more central. I 100% think he should. Big up, Nige. Big up, Dan and chat. The park mates who can't get on. Smash the like and subscribe to this wonderful channel. An amazing human being. Oh, that's very nice, Nige. Cheers, buddy, mate. Hope you're good. And catch up with you next week for a show. 100%. Philly, Simmons playing century would be able to play the ball between the lines and it would benefit the forward like you would play off the shoulder of the last defender. Well, this is it, isn't it? When we're all worried about this kind of where was that creativity coming from? Madison's injured all season. Kulusevski, a bit of a different player, but he's out injured. And it was essential that we got that attacking player in. And Simmons, I hope he is a success at Spurs. It may take him a little while to adjust to the Premier League. But he looked tidy on the ball yesterday. He didn't give the ball away. He was good with his passing. And I'm sure there's more to come. And it'll be great to see him on Tuesday against Villarreal in that central position, pulling the strings for us, creating chances. We need to get a forward in that side on Tuesday. If it's Charlison or Mawani, we've got to play with a proper centre forward. I don't think that's for him, that centre forward. I don't really know what the best position for Tell is, to be honest. I don't really know how Frank is going to get the most out of him. And, there was maybe he felt a bit sorry for him and had to play him after leaving out the Champions League. Then there was talk that Richarlison just jumped off a plane. He wasn't really ready. And Mawani is not match fit yet. So he decided to play Tell. In the end, obviously, we won. But I think if we had that physical presence up there, I think it would have been a lot more straightforward for Spurs, especially in that first half, and we would have maybe scored a couple more goals. What do you reckon, guys? Marion's talking about we should bought a left wing, very very needed. Yeah, 100%. We should have got a left winger. We need one. And Frank is juggling. He's juggling with all these players. I mean, yesterday in the game, he changed that left wing 3 times. We started off with Simmons, then it changed to Tell, and in the end, it changed for Wilson. Last week, we saw Johnson there. He doesn't know. He doesn't know who's going to kind of hold down that left side, or maybe not hold down, because we do need to have rotation throughout the season. But when we're talking about who is that best player to play on the left, when we're talking about who's our best starting lineup, so many positions we can name. Yeah, there's so many positions we can say, yeah, he's first team starter, he's a first team starter, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes down to that left winger, we ain't got no clue. We don't know, because to be honest, none of them at this stage are good enough to start there. So it's just about, chopping and changing. I do hope that one of them takes charge of that position. Yeah, someone gets a run at that left wing and gives us assists, goals, contribution on that side, because we need it. We need it. We can't just entirely rely on Kudos on the right. He's going to get marked out the game sometimes. Teams are going to be doubled up on him. Someone has got to grab one of these Spurs players. There's a massive opportunity until we sign another left winger. They've got to grab it and put in some kind of form and impress us as fans, because at the moment, not just me, but many fans are very underwhelmed with that left side. So Ash thinks Simon on the left caused Bergvall and Sarr in great form. So, you think that helped their game. But look, Ash, surely we need more output from that left. Who could that player be? Simmons is not a touchline winger. he can't cross in the ball, take on a man like that. He is going to be much better centrally. But this is Frank's problem to work out. And I think come January, I think we need to go in the market and sign a top left winger, 100%. Big up, Mark. How you doing, mate? Big up, Dan, he says. So going back to the Daily Mail, that we finished that coverage. Now let's go and have a look at another media coverage, newspaper coverage from yesterday. Let me just bring up some information now. Let's have a look at this one. We should go with the Guardian now, I think. Let's have a look at it. Make sure I get my information prepared. Hold on a second, guys. Okay, so I've done the Mail. Here we go. Here we are. So, Tottenham humiliate 10-man West Ham to deepen gloom of the home fans. So, so fresh from taking the extraordinary step of calling for the people running their club to step down, perhaps the next move for West Ham's fan advisory board is to issue a vote of no confidence in their team's defending. Yeah, it's just shocking defending there, guys. After all, nothing else seems to have made Graham Potter's dreadful side realise that marking opponents at set pieces is a good idea. I mean, look, that was criminal defending, weren't it, from West Ham? Nobody was on side for that header. He just had all the time in the world to score that goal. And as I said a bit earlier, West Ham conceded the most from, I think, corners or set pieces this season. And they go on to report the Guardian. They're focusing a bit more on West Ham's performance. It was another shocker for West Ham, erasing any advances made during their victory over Nottingham Forest 2 weeks ago. They are languishing in 18th after conceding 11 goals from their first 4 matches, and it was hard not to feel their latest humiliation in a London derby will only increase the yearning for the kind of the boardroom bottlenecking recent witnessed at Tottenham, who should probably keep in mind that there was no kinder life without Daniel Levy than visiting the London Stadium. No wonder anti-board protests were planned for the West Ham home games against Brentford and Crystal Palace. It's an utter mess. West Ham are winless in 7 home games, while Potter has lost 13 of his 24 matches in charge. The second half, we made a mistake for the first goal, the manager said. It becomes an uncomfortable second half. I understand the frustration. Look, so, you know, the Guardian were kind of focusing more on West Ham's really poor performance, and they're just not a good side, and they're going to be in trouble. They are going to be in trouble if they don't get their stuff going. I think they're second from bottom now in the league. Let me just bring up the league table and just double check that. I think they're right there in that bottom 3 there. Yes, they are in the bottom 3. What was that? One win, 3 defeats. You know, -7 goal difference, 3 points. Yeah, they could be in for a real tough season, guys. What do you reckon, West Ham? Do you think they could get relegated? Ash says maybe a doggy will play high up like Trippier, and Simmons will tuck in half spaces like Everton. Look, there's, you know, these players tactically flexible. Simmons can play in different positions. You've got to be like that these days, that, you know, the modern footballer, you can't just play in one position, but, you know, you do want to get the most out of them. And I think Simmons centrally, and, you know, I'm not saying he can't do a job on the left. I'm sure he can, depending on who we're playing, what we need in that game. I think the fullbacks offer a good width as well. The thing with me with Spence, I think he played quite well. But the trouble is that he hasn't got a cross from his left foot, so he's always having to either cut in, use the left foot, and it's just not on point, is it? You know, you need your left fullback to be able to cross the ball in, and that's something I want to see from Udogie. Really, you know, he hasn't been fantastic lately. I know he's come back from an injury. We need to get more out of Udogie. Hopefully, we'll start on Tuesday and we'll see him marauding up that wing and start putting in some good deliveries, running into the box, you know, trying to assist, even score. So yeah, a lot of our width, when we don't have like a clear left-sided top winger, we're going to have to rely on the fullbacks, aren't we, guys? We really are. So look, let's go on to one more final newspaper report that I want to talk about. And then I want to talk about what Frank said in his press conference as well. Let's get your guys' thoughts. So I think this is going to be the final one now. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at this one. I think this is the Independent. Let me double check. Get this up. Yeah, this is it. So Tottenham eased past West Ham to put Graham Potter under pressure. Souček was sent off, and Irons are now without a win in their last 7 home matches. So for West Ham, any of the confidence gathered from their surprise 3-0 win at Nottingham Forest evaporated. As for the second home game in a row, they wilted in front of a London rival. To rub salt in the wounds, Thomas Souček was sent off and now without a win in their last 7 home matches, their worst run since moving to the London Stadium, and a damning one, which under fire boss Potter needs to arrest quickly. And it talked about James Maddison, and he was complaining about the VAR referee decision with the disallowed goal. And they kind of said West Ham somehow survived the bombardment until half time. And we did have a lot of corners. It was corner after corner after corner. But it only took 100 seconds of the second half for them to concede a 5th goal from a corner this season. Sarr unmarked as he'd headed home at the far post. So, look, just take that away. That's kind of the end of my kind of newspaper reports. A lot there's looking at kind of the overall media coverage. I looked up. I watched some YouTube channels. I watched just all sorts of stuff online. Read reports. Looked at X. There is most of the fan base are very, very positive about that performance. When I was on with Chris last night, we were talking. It wasn't a perfect performance, but we kind of said that it was a good result, a good second half performance, a professional performance, and what we kind of put it down to is that it's going to take time for Spurs to kind of attack better. Because I think a lot of it's going into the defence, which is right. Any good team has to be built off a good back line. But there was, especially that first half, we just did not move the ball quickly enough, I thought. You've got to speed up the passing. There was questions how we create. Where was that creativity coming from in the team? And I think all these things will come. I do not know. I do not think Frank knows who his best team is yet. Yeah, yes, there had to be some rotation for the game on Tuesday. But I think there's a lot of more work to do with this side. We're not perfect. No way. I know we're getting the results. We're kind of like functional right now, I think. I think Spurs are a functional side. They're defending better. But I think with regards to how we attack and Frank working out who the best lineup is, I don't think he's there yet. I think he's still trying to work it all out, who he can rely on, what options has he got. He's got to integrate the new signings into the team. Yes, players like Paulinho, Kudos have hit the ground running, haven't they, to be honest? And that is because, obviously, they've got Premier League experience. Mawani hasn't played in the Premier League before, neither has Simmons. So it might take him a little bit longer than those two. But if they are top players, it shouldn't take him too long. And if you have a good structure, how Frank's set up, it should really help them moving forward. But for me, there's a lot more work to do, and I'm going to take a close watch of when we play better teams. Like the Bournemouths. Areola had been there a little while. He really he outcoached Frank that day, and I want to see Frank learn from that. West Ham are a terrible team. Yeah, we should be winning that game, home or away, I think. Burnley at home, we should be winning that game. Man City, I have to give a lot of praise for Frank in that game, how we won that. Tactically, got it spot on, and it was a really good performance. And then, obviously, West Ham, we win. I want to see Spurs, when we come up against better teams, how we're going to play, how is he going to set up, what's our forward line going to look like? That combination in midfield, what's he going to settle for? I think when we go away from home, against big sides, I think we may see sometimes a back three. I think you will see a bit more security in that midfield with Bentancur and Paulinho. So important Paulinho is going to be for us throughout the season. He is a right warrior, isn't he, in midfield? Had a good performance yesterday. Not so good against Bournemouth, but yesterday I think he played really well. There's some fans would say, look, why do we need a player like Paulinho in a game like that where we kind of dominated the game? But I think it's important to have him in there, definitely. And yes, he can't play every week. You know, he is in what I think he's hit 30 now. So look, he's not going to be available every week. Let's go to the chat quickly and see what. So Philly says, big up Ash. Spurs playing three at the back. It would allow a doggy to be width on the outside and would get Xavi playing as a central creator for middle. Another option there that Frank could do. I agree with that, Philly. A modified 3-5-2 or a 3-5-2-1. Yeah. So many options. And Frank is a very flexible manager, isn't he? He really, really is. Ash, I think a back three is very passive unless you have Kane and Son. Yeah, the old kind of counter-attacking football days. Fully's talking more about a back three would allow the wing backs to bomb forward, knowing Spurs are defensively stable, getting the best out of Porro and the Dougie as their wing backs with the midfield triangle of Paulinho and Simmons. Yep. Yeah, it's definitely an option there, Philly. Definitely is. I just think we need to get that midfield combination right. Whoever it is, if it's a back four, back five, I think we will see a lot of. I think Frank really likes Bentancur. Obviously, Paulinho we know is going to be playing so much, and then Simmons. I think in that top of that, I think that combination there, and then you have the legs of Sarr who can come in, Bergvile. Obviously, Basuma is going to be. I'm not too sure what's going to happen with his career because it looked like we're trying to sell him. Frank's not been too impressed with him, but he's another player that we may need to use if we get injuries, and he's going to have to contribute. Something about he's just not fit. It's fitness issues. So let's go to Thomas Frank and what he had to say after the game yesterday. Let me bring up. So he spoke about. So this was the question he was asked. He says the game started slowly, but did you get everything you wanted from it in the end? So he says, yeah, I agree. I think the first 15, 20 minutes was even, not too much happened. But then I think we really grew into it. And the last 20 or 25, something like that, I feel we dominated and created a lot of good opportunities without having too many big chances. We have really a lot of dangerous situations. And we know in football, sometimes it's also about getting closer and closer and closer. And then suddenly there's an opening where you can score. I think West Ham defended very well first half. It was difficult to get the clear-cut chances. But when we got Xavi and Mo on the sides and play and run, produce crosses, either swing or overlap or so on, and a lot of corners where we're also very dangerous. So happy that the goal came second half because you never know. The momentum can change after half time, but we kept going and scored a good goal after and then 3-0 done. So a very clear win, a good performance. And I think we all know the derby and the importance of the game for the fans. And I think that's a testament to the boys. So look, Frank, very happy. Fans, very happy with that result. Yeah, 3-0, straightforward. No fuss, really. There was no danger that we would lose that game at all. No danger. I thought we were very comfortable, especially in that. Once I saw that second part of the first half, I did think we'd win that game. The goals came. We won. Yes, West Ham helped us with Suchak getting sent off, but that's not our problem. We take the 3 points and we get out of there and we look forward to the Tuesday game. So Ash has said, play Odegaard against low block and Johnson's against big teams. So look, Johnson is better when there's space. I think with Johnson, right, like he gives us goals, but I want players who are going to play 90 minutes to contribute to the match more, be involved more, create stuff, take on a man, pick out a pass, work hard, defend. Johnson, all he's there for is putting the ball in the back of the net. Yes, can we get away with that against certain teams in the league? Yes. But I think Johnson, he's going to be in the team in and out. Could be an impact sub. He knows where the goal is. But again, I just don't think he's good enough to start. I really don't. I think we can get away with it with some of the lower end teams. But then again, he does score against, he has scored some important goals against big teams. So maybe that's a little bit unfair. But I want players in that lineup who are going to be making an impact the whole game, I think. So Ash reckons Kolo Muani as a left wing. Frank did say that he can play forward. He can play. He can play on the left. He can play on the right. So obviously Frank's considering that. And we'll see what he's like. Muani. I'm looking forward to seeing him. See what he can offer us. Philly says it's still early, and while I'm sure Thomas Frank will get the best out of the players, but what I want the Spurs hierarchy by Spurs' actual need, and that's it, isn't it? better summer transfer window, 4 first team players. Now we want to see that continue going into January, summer after summer. There's a lot of talk now. They've been called the Lewis family. You know, I don't know that strategy. Maybe that's from Vinay, a bit more personable than Enoch. We saw them at the game yesterday. They want to get more involved. They want Spurs to be more successful on the pitch. The only way for us to know that they really want that is investing in the first team and going out and buying top players. Yeah, that's it. That will be the evidence there. If they do that window after window, then we can see that they do really want that ambition. Frank, give him time. We need a manager. We need some stability with a manager. I like Frank. It's going to be a hard old season. I'm going to see how he manages these 2 games a week. Yes, we've had a good start other than that Bournemouth defeat. When the games get going thick and fast, injuries start coming. Now that's when we'll know what type of manager Frank is. Can he deal with that? In Champions League, Premier League, tough games coming, domestic cups. That will be the proof. At the moment, it's all so early. Everything's going well. But that could soon change. And how does Frank and this team react to that? If we lose a couple of games in a row, we get a couple of bad results, are they going to get back on track? How's Frank going to manage it game to game? Who's going to play? It's such an intriguing season. And, I'm so happy that the Premier League is back after that international break, because it was just so boring. Ash says Lancashire and Vukovic are looking great. Again, players with potential. It's good that they're out on loan to improve, and play a lot of matches. And the young guy, Vukovic, fair play to him. He said, I'm not quite ready yet for the first team. He was given that option to stay, but he said Frank, look, I need to play more. I'm not as good as Romero. I'm not as good as Van der Ven. I've got a lot of work to do. I want to play football. Off you go, mate. Off you go. Go and do that. And I can't remember, guys, who he's playing for now. Just remind me. It's gone off the top of my head. I think Lancashire's playing for Oxford. Am I right? I think he scored. I could be wrong. Guys, let me know on that one. Well, let's go back to Frank, see what he's saying. So, he said, you look to be sharing some laughs with Mickey van der Ven when he came off. May I ask you what that was about? He says, yes, I won a goal from him from set pieces. It was a second phase set piece, but it didn't count. It was left or right foot. I need a header. So, yeah, little bit of banter, between Frank and Van der Ven. Good to see, eh? Really good to see. And I don't know if you guys saw, I don't know, there was some kind of, I think I saw it on YouTube. It was a former West Ham player. I think it was Mikel Antonio talking about Frank, and that he spoke to many Brentford players, and that such a lovely man Frank is, a man motivator. He's really positive person in life. He's just a really nice guy, isn't he? It comes across really well. And it's not a lot of nice stuff you hear about Frank. So he says, you use your squad today with Tuesday in mind. How encouraging, isn't it, that you can use it and get a result? Cheers, Ash. Oxford United scored 3 goals. I thought it was Oxford. He says, I think it's extremely important. I think it's important that I trust my players. Of course, they need to perform and train well and show the right attitude and all of that. But they do, and they train well. So I have the privilege, for example, Bentancur, of course, he could have played today, but he played 290 minutes. He landed Thursday morning, so I'm not too worried about that. But what about Tuesday? What about the next one? And can they play 70 games, all of them, all the time? Bentancur is a key player for us. So, yeah, he really likes Bentancur, and let's see if he can last the season. There is a lot of football. Rich is the same. He could have started, but he also played in 4,000 meter height against Bolivia and so on. And then others have done well. Let's hold on 1 second. Yeah, he goes on to say, Lucas, look how he came on the pitch and how he performed as well. I think Matthias, very impressive. The performance was maybe not through the roof, but it was very solid. I thought, say, 7 out of 10. Worked hard, pressing, constant pressing, and that's also very good. He's not in the Champions League squad. Very happy with the squad. And then he was asked about Bergvall. Do you see him as a goal scoring midfielder? Yes, first and foremost, I think his performance was good today. I really like his energy, his pressing skill, his enthusiasm. I think he drags the team with him. He's in a kind of way, and there's so much he can learn and improve. So I think that's promising as well. Fantastic goal, well timed run, top ball from Romero, and well executed header. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, Bergvall, good performance yesterday. Do you know what, guys? I really like Romero's performance yesterday. Very dominant, and I really enjoyed his passing. Yeah, he's one of our best passers in the team, right? Coming out from the back, Romero. When he's on it like that, I really enjoy his performances. I just need to see that more often, that consistency, because he wasn't great against Bournemouth. I don't think he was great against Burnley. But yeah, he's got some great passes. He's really good. Guys, do you think of Romero? And do you think he's going to be more consistent this season? Just let us know in the chat what you think. Philly says, is Vinay looking at the team and seeing where Spurs are vulnerable and scouting a player to solve that issue? Moani is better. Essentially another forward to run off the shoulder of the last man. I don't know what's going on with the scouting, Philly. That is something Spurs must improve. Our scouting has not been good enough over the years. They really need to get that right. There are some cracking players out there. If the scouting, is the scouting is set up right, something we can definitely improve on, because we can't, spend 60, 70 player amount on every player. We do have to, do some good scouting, but bring in some players who are a bit cheaper, but with a kind of a high ceiling. And I'm sure there are so many players out there. Teams like Brighton, Bournemouth, many of these Premier teams, they bring in these players and then they're suddenly going for so much money. And so scouting has definitely gotten to be improvement. Big up, June. How you doing? Hope you're good. Let's have a little drink. So back to Thomas Frank's press conference. So, what did you make of Xavi Simons' debut? I think he was very promising. I like what I saw from him. I liked he took the initiative on the ball every single time he had the ball. He tried to create something, and I think he had a wonderful assist for the first goal from a corner. Worked hard as well. I think it was a good first game. Yeah, I think it was fine. He was tidy enough. Going to take him a bit of time, and as I said, many fans want to see him more central. And then he went on to talk about Paulinho. Is he 100% sharp? No, some players hit the ground running in the season. I think we need to, even though he's played in the Premiership before, he's still at a new club, new coach, crazy new ideas from the coach, all these things. And then he had a little disjointed press pre-season because he played at the Club World Cup without playing too many games or barely any. So I think he will grow and will be better. Happy again with his performance today, solid. He gives the team that structure and solidity. He definitely does. It's a player that we've been crying out for years, that defensive midfielder. Look, he's 30. I don't know how many more kind of seasons he'll be able to play at the top level. Hopefully a couple at least. I think longer term we will need to look at, his kind of replacement of someone who can come in. Fans will say that's Archie Gray. I don't know. But look, we do need to be thinking ahead in that kind of once Paulinho does start to kind of, not as good as he is now, we did need to look at it. And that's, like I said, it's about the scouting. It's about, planning in the recruitment for the future, looking at all sorts of things. They've got to be doing this. They really do. So Frank was asked about a third clean sheet. How important is that? I think it's hugely important that we are good defensively. Obviously, we want to score, want to play forward, we want to play offensive football. We've scored 8 goals. Clearly, we want to score more goals. But over so many, many games, that foundation, being able to get clean sheets is key. It's something we worked very hard on throughout pre-season. The players deserve a lot of praise. All the coaches, especially Matt Wells, that really drives that and have a big, big focus. I think that's the first aim when I walked into the building. Like I said, if you want to be a successful team, you've got to have a good defence. It's so important. And then you can build from that. If you've got a solid base, you've got that back four that we know, give or take a Doggy or Spence, is set. Yeah, we know our strongest lineup there. And then you've got Paulinho in front of them, Bentancur, and then you add that creativity into that midfield. And then it's kind of working on combinations and how we attack, how we bring it forward. We've already spoken about today the set pieces and how important that is for us. Quite a big side. So look, it's work in progress. It's going to take time. I think we'll have a lot more better understanding of what this team will be. Probably looking like second part of the season when the pressure is really on, isn't it? Like if we're still in the competitions, we're pushing for Europe. Guys, in the chat, give us your thoughts. What are your kind of initial impressions of Frank so far and how he is getting on as the Tottenham manager? Are you happy? Is there something you could do better? Are you kind of a bit like me, want to see how it goes and like when the pressure really is on, how he reacts in management? Managing Brentford to come into Tottenham is a completely different game, isn't it, really? Us Spurs fans, we want Spurs to win. We want to win trophies. We want to get qualified for Europe. There's a lot more pressure at Tottenham. So many managers have failed over the years. Again, a lot of it's to do with the board backing, lack of board backing, patience and things like that. But guys, just give us your thoughts. Like, most Spurs fans must be really happy with the start of the season. It's not perfect. Performances haven't been perfect. We had that slip up against Bournemouth. But I think, we're doing really well. We are doing really well. 3 wins out, 4 free clean sheets. It's a really good start. So let's have a look in the chat. Marion said Vukovic played the whole game for Hamburg. That's it. Thanks, Marion, for reminding me. Playing in Germany, good competitive league that is. Who were beating 5-0 away to Bayern. Did he play? He played the whole game. Yeah. Well, Bayern are a fantastic side, aren't they? They'll beat many teams, but it's a great experience for him, eh? Vukovic was the best performer of his team. That's great to hear, isn't it? I think he's going to be a cracking player, what I've seen of him. Yeah, so young, but really motivated player to, be the best he can be. And Ash says, I'm loving Frank. I hate kamikaze football. We look more organised. Yeah, it's refreshing to see a team with structure. Ange was just all gung-ho, didn't put anything into defending, and it just completely went wrong in the league, didn't it, last season? Guys. So just one more thing I want to talk about before I'm going to close down the show. Around about 12, we'll shut the show down. Just there's a website I use called Sportsmile, really good with analysing games and so this is their kind of what they thought of the game. So they thought Tottenham appeared slightly timid in the opening 45 minutes, potentially aiming to find their feet again after a difficult defeat to Bournemouth before the international break, but they were certainly back in full flow in the second half. Thomas Frank has already implemented a much stronger defensive foundation, though it is certainly helped by Spurs being able to name the same back four in all their Premier League matches this season. And that has undoubtedly helped their performances going forward. That is a point, we have had that consistency in the back. And fans from last season will point to the injuries in the defence. Romero, Van der Ven, fullbacks missing many games, and fans put that was for the reason for all those defeats. I can argue that. Obviously, of course, it's going to impact results, but Ange, he could have done so much more. So he's talking about Saar Bergvall have been particularly impressive in the opening stages of the campaign, both making strong contributions in attacking and defensive areas off the pitch, only highlighted further by both getting on the score sheet today. I think Saar, I think what's happened with Saar last couple of seasons, he just hasn't had any coaching. Yeah, he's just not been consistent. He's not been playing well last season. The odd flash good game. Don't get me wrong, not been poor every game. But since Franks likes him, he's getting a couple of goals, getting about the pitch. He's not the best passer of the ball. He's got a lot of running in there. And, he scored. Who did he score against? He scored against, obviously he scored yesterday. He scored another goal. I just can't think now who it was. I remember him scoring a goal from the halfway line against Arsenal in pre-season. I can't remember, guys. I've just lost my thinking of that other Saar goal. But anyway, yeah, it's been good under Frank so far. So it says, while things look encouraging for Tottenham, the start of the season has brought about major concerns and worries for West Ham. West Ham have now been hammered by two London rivals, Chelsea 5-1, Tottenham 3-0, while Sunderland also secured a 3-0 win over Graham Potter's side. Despite being 4 matches into the new Premier League campaign, West Ham simply have to improve in the coming weeks if they have any chance of securing their top flight survival, as all the signs are currently pointing to West Ham being one of the weakest teams in the divisions. It's true. It is true. Oh, big up, man. Edwardson, how you doing? Morning to you. And he says, good result yesterday, but I'm always concerned about how we seem to get short end of the stick with officials and VAR. It's going to be like this, isn't it? You know, we're going to get decisions for us, against us. But yeah, disallowing that Romero header was very, very soft. That should have been a goal. And luckily, it didn't impact on the result of the game because we went on and won it very comfortably in the end. So Sports Mole reckon Lucas Bergvall was man of the match. It was his 50th Tottenham performance. Bergvall marked the occasion with a goal assist, a standout performance, and a man of the match award. The midfielder not only scored a stunning header and registered the assist for Van der Ven's goal, but Bergvall also played a key role in allowing Sarr to have a free header at goal for Tottenham's first of the evening, blocking Doof from being able to get a challenge. Bergvall was more than just his goal contribution, so showing maturity and ability that makes him one of the most promising players in the division at 19 years old. Like I said earlier in the stream, you know, there's a lot of so much, you know, to come from Bergvall. People think he's going to be a top player. I hope he is. I think he's got a lot to do still. You know, he needs games, he needs time, he needs coaching. But why not? What do you think, guys, in the chat with Bergvall? You know, who do you think he's like? I mean, I think Chris said yesterday in this stream that he's liked him a bit like, he could be a bit like Lampard, you know, running into the box, getting goals, more of a goal machine. I don't think he's a number 10. I think he is a box-to-box midfielder, getting back. He gets all over the park, a lot of running. What type of player do you think Bergvall will be? Will he be an 8? Will he be a 10? Will he be, I don't know, a combination of the two? You know, what is Lucas Bergvall? Attacking midfielder, you know, central, deeper. He's got passing. He can score. He can head. Yeah, just give him time, eh? Give him time. Philly says, all this time I thought Vukovic was ready for Champions League. And yesterday, losing 5-0 to Bayern, maybe not. As for Bayern Munich, 11 goals in both Leipzig and now Hamburg. Cheers, man. 1 second, guys. Hold on a second. Here we go. And Ash says Bergvall is like Dembele. Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, Dembele was a fantastic player. I mean, similar maybe over time. You hope so. 1 second, guys. 1 second. Hold on, just had a message to reply to. Right, guys. Any more thoughts from anybody about the game, about the season? Anybody want to say anything in the chat? Let us know. Any questions for me? Let us know. No more questions for me. Okay, let's wrap it up. Tuesday night, Villarreal at home in the Champions League. Are you looking forward to this one, guys? I am. I'm looking forward to it being back in the Champions League. I think it's a winnable game. It really is a winnable game. I don't know how Villarreal are doing. Let me go and have a look at them, actually. See how they started this season just before we shut down. La Liga. I've got a question here. Here we go. A couple of questions I like. Anna Cole. Hello from the Welsh Valleys, Spurs and proud. Morning, Anna. How are you doing? Ash, what's your thoughts on Kulu's injuries? Kulu should be back kind of November time. I've read he should be back November time. So for Villarreal, played 4, 2 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, 7 points, 8 goals scored, 3 conceded. So yeah, 4th in the league. So they've started the season fairly well. Let's have a look who they've played. See if they played anyone decent in the league there. They lost to Atletico Madrid 2-0 yesterday. Who else have they played? Drew to Celta Vigo, beat Girona 5-0. Oviedo beat 2-0. And then had a pre-season game against Villa. Aston Villa beat them 2-0. So yeah, winnable game. Definitely winnable game against Aston Villa. I'm really looking forward to it. Archer, morning Archer, how you doing, man? Will Kolo Muani start on Tuesday? I hope so. I hope he starts. Yeah, why not? You know, I thought he would get some minutes yesterday, but he didn't, did he? Philly's saying, big up, Edwinson. I hope you're all well, sir. Right, I think we're done. We wrapped it up. Covered all the news reports. Covered Thomas Frank's press conference. Tuesday night, Champions League, 8 o'clock. It's on Amazon, this game. And let's hope we start off with a win in the Champions League at home. The crowd are going to be lively. They're going to be buzzing for this one. Let's see how Frank sets the team up. Who's going to play? Who's going to play on the left? Who's going to start up front? Who knows under Frank? We just don't know. It's been changed quite a lot as, you know, Frank is trying to work out what his best side is, best starting 11. But it's all about the squad, isn't it? You know, you've got to manage the squads, you know. Like last season under Ange, he didn't get that balance right at all, did he? He did not get that balance right. Too many injuries, and we just could not compete across multiple competitions. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching the morning stream. I'll be back sometime next week. Don't know when yet. We'll try and work it out. Try and get a Beyond the Lane in. But guys, please, if you could, smash the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoon. Take care of yourselves. And as always, come on, you Spurs. Take care. Bye-bye.